again. Let me tell you, I ain't perfect. These other rappers lie to you in verses. I show the fans my heart, not the surface. My whole life a circus.
Hello, crypto world. It's your boy Money Mo, aka Mr. Bean, coming at y'all again with another daily DeFi degenerate update. So for today, we're gonna have an important conversation about the drip garden. So we'll talk about some of the aspects of the drip garden, which could be hurting the faucet in some ways, but in a lot of ways, people have it confused about what the drip garden can do and how long it can do it for. Based on the type of contract it is, you have to make sure that you're very careful, especially when making long-term plans with some of these contracts. Okay, so here's our link tree with all the top smart contracts. As y'all know, we got drip garden, which we're talking about today. We also got other top contracts, drip that work, the faucet, animal farm, so forth and so on. So make sure, it's for new people and vets. Make sure y'all come to Money Mo's link tree. It's gonna have everything here that you could want in the DeFi space. All right, so you can kind of maneuver around. All right, y'all want to hear more? Stay tuned. Bing. All right, so let's jump right off into the nitty gritty. What we talking about today? So let's slow down, listen out, and have a conversation about the drip garden. All right, so for all you all don't know, the drip garden is essentially a miner contract. People are depositing their drip BUSD pair into the garden, and over time, you receive drip BUSD based on how many plants or how much you deposit into the contract. All right, so basically, the point to the drip garden is to get a share of the platform or the smart contract. And here is done through plants. So as a quick review for the drip garden, here's the plants at the top. Seeds is what you can spend, which what turns into the drip BUSD pair. Then you also got your seeds per day, and there's a certain amount of time that you have to wait to sow, depending on how many plants you have. I think a lot of people have big expectations for this contract. However, I think the bigger expectations should be on the drip faucet, which we'll talk about in a moment. So now in the drip garden, people are seeing this overall contract balance rise and rise. And it comes as a good sign because it seems like that's contract strength. However, with how this contract is built, the key thing that y'all have to understand, especially new people, the main thing is time. Compounding buys you time. These contracts pay off of time. So now if you're new to DeFi, I want to tell you, everything eventually gets saturated. And a lot of things die because of that. It doesn't know how to handle it. It doesn't know how to bounce back and stay afloat. The drip garden is a little bit different in how it's coded. In the traditional mining contract, you have a lot of people get in early and they have all the buying power. And over time, as new people get in, they can never match the initial buying power of the people that got in first. So now the drip garden is a little bit different. The main thing, if you enter early, there's a small little advantage. And we'll talk about that with the time multiplier. However, how does it stay fair for new people to get in a month later or even 2 months after that? The way it stays fair is they really play with the plant price. So the plant price is what varies. So plants are staying at a relatively cheap price just to make sure that new people coming in can have a fair amount of buying power, which is understandable. That is understandable. However, let's slow down. Because if we're having an important conversation about drip garden, one thing y'all gotta understand, at some point, we have to look at the predecessor to know what this is gonna do. And the predecessor to the drip garden is obviously the faucet. The faucet is the top dog, period, point blank, whether you like it or not. And it always will be. It's slow and it's more sustainable. Drip garden at this 3%, first off, depends on how many people get in and out of this drip garden contract. That's what it depends on, whether it's going to be sustainable or not. 3% is typically not sustainable. I'm going to be honest with you. And that's a variable 3%. If less people come in, if less people roll and compound, more people start taking out, what you will see is not only will the contract balance start going down, but you'll also see the plant price going down and down and down. And then your available seed, that seed value will be slowing down big time. But that's how the contract works overall. It's built to be more fair than most, but I just gotta let y'all know, minor contracts get stale over time. What is this contract gonna look like when it gets stale? It's great right now. We're all excited. We're all doing well. But to tell somebody they can make $150,000 a year using the drip garden, especially not knowing how much they're going to be depositing, is a little bit reckless. All right, so the fertilizer bonus. Let me explain this really clean. So the fertilizer bonus is essentially how much you're getting overall APR for the contract, right? So 300%, what's 1% of 300%? 3%. So that's where you get your 3% per day. Also, in that is a time bonus. The time bonus is based on when you got in the contract. So if you got in early, the time bonus is going to be higher. So this percentage keeps going up by small increments, but it goes up. So it's an advantage to get in early. That's the only equalizer for anyone to get in early. Because the issue, as this contract gets larger and more people get in, the people who got in early kind of will be losing. The value of their plants will go down unless they compounding a lot. So that's why I say, oh, you can make a lot of money by compounding. Yeah, because you're keeping the contract balance high. But when you decide to pay yourself out, first off, it's going to come slow. So, it's coming back at 3% per day. So you got to wait. And then, some people who don't know what's going on, who don't know the faucet exists, they're going to get in here and expect to get a certain amount over time. And when it drops to 2%, 1%, less than 1%, they're not going to know what to do. And they're going to be in panic, and it's a scam. So, before you read this contract wrong, I know y'all excited. You don't hear a lot of super vets talking a lot about the drip garden. They typically talk about the faucet. So the faucet, let me show y'all the faucet real quick. The faucet is a lot safer. All right, so one of the main things is keeping the faucet afloat. You gotta keep the faucet afloat. I'm gonna tell y'all, and make sure y'all join Team Muddy. Link is in the description. Y'all already know how we do. But the main thing about the faucet that makes it special, I say this a lot, the well tax that keeps this fair, right? Not just that, is the fees. There's fees on everything. There's fees to deposit. There's fees to withdraw. There's fees to sell drip. There's fees to buy drip. There's fees on everything. So it keeps this contract balance afloat, and it keeps people believing in the faucet. It does. Now, I told y'all we're going to have an important conversation about the drip garden. This is important. So I got a couple points to make, and I'm going to keep it pushing. First thing, when you look at the drip garden, you have to talk about the drip liberation contract. This is essentially a zap. It'll let you take one cryptocurrency and turn it into the drip USD pair, all right, with one transaction. It's good and it's bad. It's the gift and a curse. You know what I'm saying? It's the salty and the sweet. The good thing is that it's a cheaper entry into drip. So instead of paying a 10% tax that you would pay in PancakeSwap for drip tokens, which most typically people go into the faucet with drip, but the drip liberation contract allows you to surpass that 10% tax. That's very important because that's a 10% tax that the user don't have to pay. We understand that. But that's a 10% tax, entry tax, that is not going into the drip pool, into the faucet pool. Now, let's talk about the big issue with the drip garden, especially if you're new. You're not gonna know to look for this, but this is a big issue because whales are almost finding a loophole. Over here, you can move more drip easier. And obviously, I said if you go through drip liberation, there's not a sale fee or a fee that's going to the drip faucet pool, right, or the liquidity. Over here, it's even worse. So they could just be over here, compound, take it out, killing this contract balance at will. Like they can hold the seed value and just dump it. So that's one thing that makes me nervous about this. And not only just that, it's cool. That's what whales do, and that's what happens in all contracts. That's something that we understand. We know that happens in the space. We gotta be prepared for it. But you gotta understand something. In drip, if I sell out of the faucet, if I jump out of the faucet, I'm gonna have a fee just to do that. Then if I come to the swap, there's another fee, right? I have another fee right here to sell, right? That's all the fees that's with the faucet. Keeping it basically afloat. Just making sure people are sticking around and not just trying to hit and get on up out of there. This is different because there's no fee when you want to harvest. None. And for some of these whales, especially for these whales, there needs to be some kind of whale tax on this. There has to be a fee that doesn't necessarily feed this contract, but feeds the faucet. All right? There has to be a fee on this drip garden. It just can't be running wild because it's not going to last long. Even though I know Forex Shark and his team, we got something different into it. The problem is you're still going to have the issue of this fertilizer bonus, time bonus, and just whales having such a big head start. it don't matter. Ain't nobody coming in buying that many plants after them. So there needs to be a sale tax here, period, point blank. And that's just to get off the drip garden. Also, you got to think, a whale, they're getting drip BUSD over here, right? So let's just say a whale wanted to cash out a drip garden, right? They got a lot of CE value here. All they would need to do is break up that drip BUSD pair, and they're getting half in their full BUSD value. The issue is that the drip community, in that case, the liquidity is only getting 5% off their selling this drip instead of a 10% that they would get if they were selling off the faucet, if that makes sense. So the drip garden is giving them BUSD as a pair already. So it's cheaper to go out. So you might as well put your drip in here if you're a whale and wash your drip through here and get cheaper fees out. So that's just one thing about the drip garden. I don't like it for the longevity of it. I do like the drip garden. Obviously, y'all see we here. We in it, you know what I'm saying? We in all these things, but we have to be objective about some of the things that we seen. All right, so another issue that I'm seeing is this drip BUSD pair. That's another issue. The reason that's an issue is because, you know, whales can come directly from the drip garden, take that drip pair, and they can put it here. Now, you got a whale that can come and get that drip from the drip garden, have a 1% fee to enter. So they can put all the drip BUSD they want over here, and they can mine up all the pigs. So now they're getting most of the vault too. You see what I'm saying? Now, 1% is sent to the faucet. Great. That's definitely a money mo. Bing! We want to build the faucet. That 1% of the faucet is much, much safer than anything in the drip garden. However, this deposit fee is cheap. It should be 10%, just like the drip faucet, bro. Everything in the faucet is 10%. Why would this be 1%? You should tax them, especially if they earning and eating out of the drip garden. You should be taxing them accordingly to enter this drip BUSD pair and eat up all the pigs. And not only just that, that is decentivizing people from getting more into the dog pairs because they get enough drip BUSD pair. So just something to think about. All right, so I usually wouldn't talk about more fees. That's not what money typically does, but that had to be addressed because I could see this is like a loophole. And you don't want the animal farm to be a loophole for the faucet. That's not what you want. You want this to be pure, secure, and you already got 300 million locked. So just my thoughts on the drip garden and how that refers to the faucet and how that all works together. The main thing, especially for all my people out there listening who might not understand the technicals as much, and I'm not a cheerleader, so I'm gonna give you the facts on what I'm seeing. The main thing you gotta understand that the drip garden, maybe right now it's paying 3% per day, right, off what you spent. But remember, the plant and seed, all that value is gonna change, and the contract balance definitely is gonna change. So the 3% here is much more dangerous, and that's the reason why you're getting 3%, because it's not as safe or as sustainable as the drip faucet. All right, so the key is getting your drip faucet rather than the drip garden. People quiet about it right now because it's hot the first couple of days until people start realizing that contract balance is going to go down. Sometimes a snail's pace wins the race. All right, so the snail drip garden is great, but I wouldn't be making lifetime plans off a minor contract. That's not wise. We saw B&B minor. Whoa. Hold on a second. Make sure y'all hit that like. Also, hit that subscribe and then slap that bell right next to it. Also, if you're interested in talking about the drip garden, drip faucet, Team Muddy, the Muddy Crypto movement, come kick it with us in the Telegram at Muddy Mo World of Crypto. All right, so that's it, man. I'm going to let y'all go. Again, make sure y'all remember, we had an important conversation about the drip garden today. The drip garden, yeah, it looks pretty on the outside, right? But it's all about what's under that hood, how it's running. All right, so be careful. The drip faucet is the better play long term. All right, and also, as always, these Money Mo top picks in my link tree. Everything's here. Got somebody new that wants to get into cryptocurrency, tell them to come to the link tree. It's all here. It's all popping. All right, also, the Telegram's right here. Make sure y'all hit that. All right, y'all want to hear more? Stay tuned. Bing!